So I know that I think a lot differently than most people, but it gets me to wonder, like, what are they thinking? What do you actually think about what's going on around you? And so my point of view is the rare one. Like, as the guy who just doesn't believe anything that's told, right? Like, people personally that I know, it's not like I'm a cynic, but anytime I see anything on the news, I immediately think like lie. And what's interesting about the news, like, is they put facts on the news, that's for sure. But the narrative is always completely wrong. It doesn't have to be necessarily wrong, but it's has a point of view that is specifically meant to get a reaction from its audience. Like, it's never just like the facts and the correct narrative. It's always maybe a fact, which could also just not be true, and a narrative that gets you to think a certain way, and usually that certain way is negative. Like, everything is just to get you in a lower state of consciousness, like, all the time. And it sounds weird, like, saying a lower state of consciousness, but that's, like, completely true. All of media and all of the news, really, it's just media. And I mean that in the broadest sense, right? So, like, obviously the news articles that are written, but also, like, TV shows you watch, the video games you consume, just all the advertisements that you see in all sorts of ways. Like, all of it's always just meant to go one direction, and that's down all the time. So, like, if you go to New York City, and, like, what's so weird about New York City is, like, it is super popular, like, around the world. Like, when people think America, they think New York City. Like, most people, like, foreigners from my perspective as an American. But if you go to what people think of New York City, which is, like, Times Square, like, it is just really loud and really in your face advertising. That's the whole place. There's a McDonald's there. There was a Toys R Us there. There's, like, all those really expensive stores that I never bought. Like, I've been there a few times. Never cared about going into any of the stores. And on top of that, everything's wicked expensive. But it's just money spending, like, retail shit and advertisements. Like, the whole thing is just money spending. There is no culture there. New York City has a culture, but when foreigners think of New York City, they think of Times Square, and that is not culture. New York has culture, right? Like, there's a New York accent. That's fucking sick. It's cool that America still has a little bit of, like, we have New York accents, Boston accents, Southern accents, and then the rest is just us, which is transatlantic accents. But what most people think of America, they think of New York City. That is not a exemplification of culture at all. It's just money spending. So, but what are you thinking? I've rambled. If you're not a conspiracy theorist, like, what are you thinking? Because if everything is constantly lying to you, and then not only that they're lying to you, but, like, they're constantly proven wrong, which is, like, a characteristic of a lie, right? Like, eventually a lie always comes out, after death or not. Like, it eventually comes out. And so even with the ability to see the truth, it's still the most popular, like, state of mind. Still the most popular state of mind, like, especially in America, is, like believe the mainstream narrative in some capacity. And like, so there is a left, and I'm speaking, not that I believe it, right, but in terms of the American left-right paradigm, the fake teams that they have politically, in there, each side still has their own lies. And like, I'm neither left nor am I right. Like right wing, like politically. I'm none. And I don't sit on the fence. I stand on the fence. I piss on both sides, and I burn the fence to the ground, and then I go do my own thing. Like, I dislike both sides. The right wing, they are like conspiracy theorists, super duper 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 light version. Because the left side is completely irrational thinking. That's most of their ideas. They are irrational ideas. There's no basis in reality into what the mainstream democratic thinking is. That is just brainwashed. And then there's the right, which is like half a step above that. Still brainwashed, just not as bad. And then you step into reality after you get out of those, after you realize that, like, okay, I shouldn't say it's that quick, right? Because there are levels to the right wing that get closer and closer to the truth, whatever that is, right? So the right wing do believe that there are lies being told to us by the government, and that we should limit government, and that's what the Constitution is for. Not that every right wing is a constitutionalist, because, man, is the right wing just gross. Because they'll say that they're constitutionalist, and then, like, they're totally okay every time it gets breached. Every time. Ugh. But you can get, like, in the right wing, you can get closer to truth. And, actually, in the Democrat Party, in the left wing, I don't want to say the Democratic Party, like, if you're still voting, you're not going to see it, but they have their own conspiracy theories, which is, like, kind of interesting. Like, I've noticed that there was, like, the CIA killed Martin Luther King because, I guess the CIA definitely killed Martin Luther King. I just don't think it was because Martin Luther King was, like, so cool and great. Like, he either was a threat to them in some way, and maybe, popularity has something to do with it, or he just like outlived his usefulness. And then it's the 60s, you can do whatever you want. Like, the boomers were the most propagandized, the most psyoped, the most affected by the government. The government was on full swing back then. And, like, I know it is now, but more people see it, and, like, you don't have to go to the insane asylum if you're a conspiracy. Like, you can just drop it, like, at a bar. Like, yeah, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Like, totally. And you're not going to get arrested. Thank God. But the Democrats do, like, the left wing does have their own kind of, like, conspiracy theories. But, when you're on the right wing, it just is closer to what the actual truth is. And, like, when you get to my level, not that it's a level, right? Like, because I kind of even veered off from conspiracy theorists, right? Because, like, if I went on 4chan, like, I would stick out. Like, I wouldn't fit in at all. I've been there. Like, I don't fit in. Like, people are talking about UFOs. I'm not into UFOs at all. People are talking about, like, government corruption. It's like, I know. Like, you already know that they're corrupt. So what's new when you bring up this one time? It's like, oh, see, I told you. It's like, dude, we all know. Like, after that, now what? Like, you go on. And then eventually, I feel like I'm at a level where, like, one, I totally understand that it's, you, that puts you in the position that you are in. And it is true that we all have different starting points. Like, I'm not gonna lie about that. Like, that's true. It would be easier if my parents were rich. And it's like easier in what way? Like, you're just gonna have other, like, you're just battling, like, this life, you are battling you most of the time. Like, that's what I feel like conspiracy theory really should end, is like, it's always just been you. Like, it's you saying no to that immoral thing. It's you saying, like, no to that dishonest thing, or that honest thing, I guess, and you want to do something dishonest, or like, you know, you taking advantage of somebody. Like, it's you are the one you're the one that's doing this. Like, you're in your position because of you. It is all the decisions that you've made in the past. It is how you live your life now. It's like, as a man, it's how like, not how masculine you are, but like understanding your role as a man. Right? Like, you want to try to actually walk with your chest out, which I'm working on. I have a really bad posture, and I used to have a really great posture, but then it wasn't that I just, I don't know, got lazy or anything. It was my point of view in the world literally affected, this is my opinion really, but my point of view of the world really affected my body, and then I started slouching a lot. Like, I used to have a great point of view of the world, and then, you know, life happens, because life is difficult for everybody. So then that happens, and then, like, my posture definitely went down. Like, I can show it. So you do want to like, as a man, you want to realize that, you know, you do want to walk with your chest out, you know, head up, talk to people in their eyes and stuff. But, like, you are the reason why you're here. Like, it's your decisions. Like, me talking about my posture, it was me that took situations in my life and then reacted a certain way. It was my reaction that got me to slouch, in my opinion. Like, I know I've played, like, many years of sports, and I snowboarded a lot. So, like, there's definitely going to be there's definitely an impact on, like, me being that active, like, injures my body, right? So there's that for sure. But, you know, you're here because of you. That is where conspiracy theorists should come to a conclusion on. And then after that, then it's actually fun. Like, then you get to realize, like, when you really zoom out, right? So, like, one, you definitely understand and have self-accountability, like, in a big way, right? Like, now you understand it's not just that you go to work and then you call it a day. When you get home, you do whatever you want. Like, now you're like, and that's going to come with maturity, because I just turned, like, 31. But, like, now it's, you know, as you're working on yourself and you're trying to, you know, say no to certain sins that you might have problems with, make irresponsible decisions, make less of those. Once you understand that, that's going to be a huge part. It gets fun, because, like, now you're like, now you get to focus on the conspiracy theories, and not focus, because you shouldn't spend that much time with it. But if you're taking it as entertainment, like, you're going to watch a movie at the end of the night, then you might as well just do this shit. But, like, you can find out what conspiracy theories are interesting to you, right? I like the sky. So I like stuff about that. I also like economics. For whatever reason, it just piqued my interest. And it's so weird. But me was that. Like, I really think that the reason why the society as a whole we're here is really exemplified by the economy, right? Because the economy is how, and like, well, first, how people spend money, how the money actually flows, where it comes from, and where does it go, right? So, like, where it comes from is super interesting, because like, your money is fake. Like, it's just not real. Like, but like, remember growing up and you thought, like, what your idea of money was. Like, you thought there was some reason that everybody was willing to use this, trade your time for these things called dollars, in which you can trade for somebody else's time and production. So None of that's real. Like, there's no basis in reality other than somebody like punched in a clock, created product, punched out, and that was somehow converted into ones and zeros on your computer screen. And you do that a billion times, right? There's a billion transactions. There's a billion transactions being done just to make a product, right? Like a toy that you get your 2-year-old has probably touched many hands in some capacity, whether in the research and development, the marketing, and then the actual toy itself, and then the packaging for the toy, and then the distribution of the toy, then from the wherever it is from to the truck that brings it to the store. Like, there is so much money being made just to get that one toy from the idea to the product to be shipped over here, and then to show people the product, and then for it to get to the store, for you to buy it, and then it goes into a landfill. There is money in every single step of that one fucking toy. That's why it's kind of cool. So you get to focus on weird shit like that, and like without emotion, especially like as a man, you should react with your emotions much less than a woman. And that is a natural thing for a man. I feel like if a man does that too much, there are always outliers that are totally normal, and that's fine, of course. But most people aren't outliers. And you got to be stoic. Like, you have to really practice your stoicism and think more logically and less emotionally. The emotional thinking is for your wife, and that's very, very important. You need your wife to think emotionally because that is a feminine trait. It's very important for the two to raise a family. Like, you need that. It's not that it is unimportant to be emotional all the time, because that is not true. Men do have emotions. You have a wife for these emotional times. That is a big job of the wife. So, like, leave the emotions to the wife. And, like, if you are married, you know that your wife just goes crazy sometimes. That is okay. You just have to stay level. Just chill. Always. Like, even if it's a lot for you, work on it. Like, react less. It's okay. Let her go through her thing. And then you figure out if there was a problem, what the problem was, and you move on. Speaking of, that's my wife. So I'm going to go inside. So yeah, I'll just end it abruptly. I was just rambling today anyway. All right, you'll figure it out.